academics that have come together to do some work on the Goldbod. One of them joins us on the line. He's been speaking on issues of the Ghanaian economy for quite a number of years. Professor Festus Ebo Turkson is at the Department of Economics, University of Ghana, and joins us on the line. Thank you very much for your time. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning to your listeners.
I hope you're well, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm doing well. By God's grace.
And a happy new year to you.
Thank you. And your listeners too.
Well, let me start first by a brief to us about exactly what were you doing about the Goldbod? What were you looking at?
Okay, so we were also listening to the debate that was going on just before we entered into the new year. And I was with two of my colleagues. And I said to them, why do we allow this things to be taken over and the arguments sound to look political bias? Why don't you go in as an economics and then take the data, look at it, some assumptions, and do a technical analysis of the macroeconomic effect vis-a-vis the laws that was being reported and highlighted by the IMF? Because we saw that most of the analysis that we are hearing were looking at the accounting cost or loss in the books of BOG without looking at the broader macroeconomic impact that you could use economic tools to try as much as possible, if not precisely, to estimate those benefits. So my two colleagues agreed that we should do this together and present that technical report to the Goldbod. Not because it was commissioned or something, but just to add to the discussions that were going on. And that is what led us to do this. And I thank my other two colleagues for the support they gave for us to put this together.
And when you did that assessment, what did you find?
So we found out that the macroeconomic impact of the reduced smuggling, which is more likely the case than an increase in actual production, was an enormous benefit that the Ghanaian economy had realized through the cedi appreciation. And whilst when we did the cost, as highlighted in the IMF report from the BOG books, we found the estimate, the plausible estimate that we have of the macroeconomic benefits to about 18-fold of that cost. And in our report, we go into each of them, look at the assumptions, take real-time data, and then analyze the potential benefit that Ghana has obtained in 2025. We highlight that if it costs Ghana $1 to support the Goldbod operations in reducing the smuggling and supporting the Gold for Reserve program and the forex market, Ghana obtained $18 back as potential benefits. And to be honest with you, we are very, very modest with our assumptions for the benefits, which we believe will be much more higher than that. But even in our modesty, we got almost 18-fold the cost that is being discussed. And if you read the report, you will find out that we've gone at length to show the assumptions, the calculations that we did to support that benefit cost ratio of 18:1.
For every dollar spent, the economic benefits, and you said you were being modest,
yes.
$18.
Yes. For every dollar that the Bank of Ghana has reported, which the IMF flagged as a loss, which we in economic think is that it's just a policy cost and it shouldn't be seen as an accounting cost. Because every economic policy that is pursued comes with a cost. But economic policies have objectives. And in discussing the economic costs, policy, the concentration should be on the benefits. Because, for instance, if Ghana decides that it is going to support domestic firms to go into export diversification by adding value, that economic policy will come at a cost because the government will have to possibly give them tax holidays and all of that. But the benefit is the export receipts that Ghana will obtain, the employment it will generate, and the import substitution that Ghana will benefit from by making us less reliant on import. It's what you should compare with that cost because every policy comes with a cost. And so in part of our recommendations, we indicate that since this is a policy cost to stabilize the economy so that we can build the resilience and then begin to structurally transform the economy, we think that this should be treated as a critical fiscal cost. And the government should internalize this cost into our annual budget and take it away from the Bank of Ghana's books. In fact, the Bank of Ghana should treat it as an asset and call it a claim on government for the domestic good purchase program. And the fiscal authorities should treat it as a liability and budget for it annually. Because the enormous benefits that it brings to the Ghanaian economy. And we highlighted about 6 of them and actually calculated the potential benefits, the approximate benefits. It's something that makes the cost even look very insignificant.
I see. 118. But do you also and okay? So you are essentially saying, for the purpose of clarity, you're saying that yes, that cost may exist, but that cost is what you call a policy cost. That
Yes.
every policy has a cost,
Yes, please.
and government should cover that cost.
Precisely.
I see. But do you understand those who are also making the point that at least this policy cost involves the sales of gold, and you shouldn't be selling gold and be losing?
So, yes, I understand that. So, in part of our recommendations, we've said that if we improve the market interaction in the first market, the two rates that are causing part of the loss could converge, and we'll not see that loss. So that if the bluebird rate and the rates that are used to provide that incentive for the reduced smuggling get closer to the bank rate, then that loss will be minimized. But you see, I mean, at times entering the market to take over the market requires some initial investment. I mean, standard corporate analysis, corporate firm analysis. At times when a new firm is entering the market, it can go in there if it has a financial muscle to sell at just its marginal cost and not recover every cost. And the idea is to enter the market and then take a share of the market. And afterwards, I mean, for Goldbod to have been given that legal right to go in and get almost all the ASM gold that is being produced, when there were existing frameworks that were working, and there were firms that were buying the gold and offering rates, power market rates above the bank rate, it was going to be impossible for the Goldbod to enter that market and deter the smuggling if the Goldbod didn't go to offer something similar that was already being offered. But you see, we should not look at that translational cost, that cost of that intervention that we call Goldbod. And if you look at the objectives of Goldbod, if we set it up for the enormous benefits that it will bring to the economy, where for some time, majority of what we export, especially gold, doesn't come back to the economy, to the Bank of Ghana. This intervention is ensuring that at least in 1 year, we've seen that enormous build-up of reserves from that intervention, which is more supportive of monetary policy especially with regards to exchange rate stability. We should look at it at that angle. We shouldn't be looking at it, oh, you are selling gold, why should you sell it at a loss? I mean, and that loss that is being discussed, like we show in our technical report, it's a loss that, yes, in accounting you can call it a loss, but in economics you don't see that as a loss. And that is the point that we are making. So we need to look at the broader picture. Even though in our report we mentioned that beyond this, we need to look at changing the structure of our economy. We also need to fiscal discipline to support a low debt profile, and also to ensure that we enhance law enforcement to deter smuggling. These are the sort of things that in the long term will sustain the FX stability and what we found in 2025. So we are not saying that is the solution, because of course it depends on the commodity prices. The gold prices are doing well on the world market, and therefore certainly I know the central bank would also be aware of that, and its profile of reserves will keep adequate gold and actual forex reserves in a way that it will not lead Ghana to struggle too much, supposing gold prices begin to drop. And so in the interim, as we try to build some stability and resilience, these measures like the Goldbod would give us that free space to be able to pursue those medium to long-term strategies for transforming our economy, to build a resilience and to move our economy to the next level of getting over this exchange rate instability that we have been saddled with for a long time.
Fantastic. So you're saying that in the interim, the Goldbod is the initiative we need to ensure the stability whilst we pursue ways, much more sustainable ways. Because there are people who have been asking the question about the fact that gold prices are great on the market now. They could fall. And 2014, 2015 taught us a lesson when it comes to the matter of oil. You're saying in the medium term, let's take advantage of this and build the
exactly.
economy.
I mean, in our report, we clearly say that how to get over this issue of this depreciation that always occurs and not stability, we need to do much more. We need to structurally transform our economy from an import-dependent economy to an economy that relies on import substitutes, and also promote higher export diversification so that we can reduce our commodity dependence. And that will help us to build the resilience that we need as an economy, so that when the commodities are not doing well, our economy is well structured. Our economy will find the resilience to withstand those external shocks. And so that is what we have in our report. But the Goldbod intervention, of course, is part of the domestic gold purchase program that was started in 2022, which has been held under the Goldbod. It's a necessary short-term measure, especially given that gold prices are doing well. We need to take advantage of it before the prices come down. There's nothing wrong if we are doing that in the short term.
And let me conclude by asking for your thoughts on this debate. There's been a huge debate about whether the Goldbod alone can be credited for the kind of stability and progress that we've seen in the economy. There are those who are also talking about the prudence and among other things that have been done by the government. What's your thoughts on it?
In many parts of our report, even when we did any estimation, we indicated in our report, and quite clear in the report, that the Goldbod cannot be credited with the entire stability that we find in the Ghanaian economy. It is as a result of a lot of issues. One, the tight monetary policy stance of the central bank. The other monetary policy initiative that the central bank has taken over the years, which in 2025 was more emphatic. The fiscal prudence by the fiscal authorities has played a role. And no doubt, the world gold prices has also played a role. Apart from that, Of course, the issue about inflation has also benefited extensively. I mean, from food price inflation, of a good harvest, and all of that. But what the Goldbod did was to support this stability, because look, some of these conditions that I just highlighted, I mean, previously we've seen them. And if you look at the export profile from 2018 to 2025, you would see that while all of these factors might have played a role, the Goldbod operations in 2025, in no doubt, by reducing the smuggling, ensure that we got enough export receipts back into the economy, either through to the central bank through Goldbod Reserves Program or directly to the forex market to support the market intermediation that was going on. And that is the reason why the CD has appreciated at the level that it has appreciated. So there are a number of factors that have caused the stability that we found. But the Goldbod is an important factor that ensured what we see in 2025. So this is not to make it look like Goldbod played a role. In fact, it did play a role. In fact, the signaling effect that the build-up of the reserves had on the speculators on the forex market alone also played a significant role. So, I mean, when policy gets it right, we need to acknowledge, and if it gets it wrong, we should be criticizing that policy. But so far as we talk about 2025, there has been a game changer, and it is more plausible to attribute that to the support that the Goldbod has given to all the other initiatives that have been pursued to stabilize the economy.
Prof, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
Professor Festus Ebo Turkson of the Department of Economics, University of Ghana, join us on the line. And like I said, 3 of them, academics, have co-authored a paper. The paper is on the matter of the Goldbod. So some strong academic contribution. And SM, it says for every dollar. Where did I write that thing? I forgot.